In 1919, he hit 29 home runs and was sold to the New York Yankees.
A three-run home run for Buffington. The Yankees now lead it by a score of 3-2.
Bill Lee is now going over to a couple of the Yankees, and there they go again.
Hits it to deep left. That might send the Yankees to the World Series.
Varitek and A-Rod going at it. Roberts is going. Posada's throw. Roberts safe.
And what can I say? Just tip my hat and call the Yankees my daddies.
Welcome to Fanbase, a deep dive into the greatest rivalry in sports. Brian Shackman, John Senecal, episode 224. The rundown, awards recap real quick, gambling, just some opinions here on what the hell is going on in our world. And then we have Jackie Bradley Jr. returning to baseball. We'll explain. That should be interesting. Listen, we had a healthy back and forth about Cal Raleigh versus Aaron Judge. You know, I'm not mad that Judge won it. He clearly deserves it. I thought it would have been nice, a little sentiment to give it to Raleigh because he'll never be in that position, maybe ever again. Who knows? And I mean, think about the records. Think about most home runs ever by a catcher, ever. Most home runs ever by a switch hitter, ever. And, you know, who was number two was freaking Mantle.
Yep.
And I just felt like that deserved it. I just felt it did. Now, do I think that it was stolen? No, but I think if Raleigh won it, I would have been cool with it.
Well, I think, you're absolutely right, Brian. Any other year, right? I think he does walk away with it. But when you get the numbers Aaron Judge did, and you put up numbers that are historically, top three ever in Major League Baseball history, that's going to beat 60 home runs. And, really, when you look at it, he only had him with the home runs and the RBIs, and it wasn't by much. It was 7 home runs and was like 12 or something RBIs. It wasn't much. So, and Judge only missed 10 games this season. He posted, like he always does, unless he's seriously hurt. He had the elbow issue that he was out for 10 games. Yep. But if you look across the board, everything else was, he just crushed him. It wasn't even close. The on-base percentage alone is almost 100 points higher. So that alone, the slugging is almost 100 points higher.
I hate these bullcrap conversations because you're the freaking catcher. He's squatting 20 times an inning. He's busting his ass. I mean, the fact that I don't care if he bats 240. You could still be the most valuable dude. I'm sorry.
Well, if you want to bring the catching aspect into it, Brian, they should be more upset that he didn't win a Gold Glove because he didn't let up one damn pass ball all season.
But it's not most valuable hitter, John.
It's most valuable player.
Valuable hitter.
Judge only DH'd for a month when he was hurt, and then he was playing the field the rest of the time. Right?
But I'm just saying, like, the dude's a catcher. It's the hardest working position in the entire game, arguably maybe with pitcher. And he caught a lot of games. I don't want to fight about it. I think Judge is fine.
119 games, over 1,000 innings caught, but the numbers just aren't going to add up. You can say all you want about his catching, but Judge has him in every single category. What really killed him, I'll be honest with you, Brian, what really killed him is the fact that – what's that?
Postseason?
Well, no, the postseason doesn't count, right? Because all these awards are voted on before the postseason. Right. I think the fact that he played in Seattle, even though they do have a lot of hype around the team, and the fact that Judge is in New York, there's so much microcosmic, just everything is so much focused on you, and to perform at that level in that situation, it's just amplified. And again, the numbers don't lie. Judge just wiped his ass across the board with all the numbers. You can say all you want about catching and squatting. It's just Aaron Judge, what you're watching between Judge and Ohtani, everyone should take notice and be thankful that they're watching this in Major League Baseball. It is amazing the talent that you can see in both leagues between the two of those players. Yeah, and I'm just talking those two guys. There's so much more talent. But historically in Major League Baseball, you might not ever see this in the next 100 years of Major League Baseball.
Well, I mean, I said it on my morning show on WTIC News Talk 1080 that you're really watching not two of the best players in the game today, two of the best players to ever play the game of baseball.
I mean, Ohtani would have won the MVP without pitching. I mean, yes, that factors into it because he's doing both. Technically, it should be a Cy Young thought, but he's going to win the MVP even if he doesn't throw one single pitch in the National League or Major League Baseball this year.
So the question I have for you, it's a stupid barstool question, but and you're biased, but if you had one player to pick, who do you pick?
One player all around to pick on my team?
Ohtani or Judge?
Oh, I'm taking Ohtani because he does both. I mean, Ohtani is the best player on the planet. There's no doubt about that. To be able to do what he did at both levels, I mean, the dude threw more 100-mile-an-hour pitches than any other starter in Major League Baseball coming off of Tommy John surgery.
Right.
Actually, no, Hunter Green was ahead of him, but he was just behind Hunter Green, which is amazing. And then just look what he did, Brian. I mean, he has the highest hit rate, contact rate in baseball, like exit velocity between him and Judge. I mean, they're neck and neck, but the pitching just puts him above it.
Yeah.
The fact that he can pitch and do what he does at that level is insane.
Just real quick, I want to ask you. I mean, I know Skeens is great, but isn't it weird that a guy goes 10-10 and wins a Cy Young? Like we grew up in the era of 20 wins being the bar. Even with the dude Schoolboy, I still felt Crochet had more Cy Young type numbers. But it's just so bizarre that a guy goes 10-10 and he wins the Cy Young.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Skeens is, they don't, the way they look at things now, they don't really look at wins like they used to back in the day. I remember when we were growing up, it was like, wow, the guy's going to maybe get 20 wins or 30 wins. They don't even really look at that anymore. And the other thing I think that people are not looking at Skeens is he didn't throw a lot. 5-6 innings. They limited him. He wasn't really pitching in meaningful games. Like, yeah, every game is meaningful, but when you're playing for the Pittsburgh Pirates and you're in the bottom of the toilet, you're only pitching for yourself in the grand scheme of things, right? And they're protecting him and not burning out his arm. So he's not pitching in games like Ohtani is and like Christopher Sanchez was. And, right. Like those are big games down the stretch that you have to perform in. Not to take anything away from Paul Skeens. He is probably, in my opinion, probably the best pitcher in baseball, and he deserves the award. But you can't look at the 10 wins. You can't look at that. You got to look at the complete player. And he is limited by what the team's using him for. It's not his fault that he's only pitching 6 innings. I'm sure he would want to be out there and pitch 9-inning complete games.
He's John Senecal. I'm Brian Shackman. This is Fan Base, a deep dive into the greatest rivalry in sports. Obviously, there was actually even news late in the week about another gambling scandal involving the Lucchese family, the crime family. It had to do with college athletes and $2 million in illegal bets. We know how it touched the NBA. We know now how it touched. We knew the Cleveland story over the summer, so it's not like that's new because the internet solved that one pretty quick. And so we knew those guys were in trouble, the Cleveland pitchers. And I don't know. I have a couple of thoughts. One is I feel like the money, especially with the dude who's making $6 million next year, the money that they make off the fixing the bets is so much smaller. Everyone's jumping to the conclusion that they're stupid, but I'm wondering if they're being like extorted, or they're being like, if there's these people have something on them, like pictures of something or something to make them do this, because it so defies logic that these players would do something like this for them. I know it's money they don't have to pay taxes on, they don't have to share with agents, but it's still chump change compared to career earnings. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I think we're scratching on kind of what is going on behind the scenes here, Brian. I don't know if it might be extortion. It could just be the fact that, childhood friends, that kind of stuff, people you grew up with, because both these so-called, bookies are from the DR, from what I've read. Maybe it's just people they got mixed up when they were younger and they just kind of, they're hanger-oners, that kind of thing. And it was one of the kind of, put some stupidity in there. No one's ever going to find out. It's no big deal. It's what it is, one pitch. But, the fact that, Class A has been doing this possibly for the last 3 seasons is pretty alarming. And the fact that he is only making these little chump change, you call it, like, everyone will look at it and say, oh, he went down for $12,000 because that's what's on the paper. It's definitely more than that. But when you look at the money that the bookies were making, up to, $750,000 or more on some of these wagers, it's pretty significant. And, unfortunately, for these 2 players, I think that they're going to be made example of. So make sure that the people coming behind them aren't going to do what they did. So if you're Luis Ortiz and Emmanuel Clase, I would be really worried right now. I mean, they're not going to do 65 years at Pete Rhodes prison, but they are going to be behind bars, Brian. I'm sure about that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that I don't cry for the gambling companies, because I think they do algorithms that take advantage of people. I really believe that. But I think, I don't know what the solution is, whether it's getting rid of prop bets or whatever. I just know, and listen, they've been doing it in Europe successfully, relatively speaking, outside of that Italy soccer thing for a long time. You have gambling in sports, it's going to be a problem. I don't care what you say. Just like you have people getting paid in football and football and basketball and college sports now. There's going to be not gambling, but like that's awful too, because people are going to get fired. People are going to it changes the game forever. Like
Yep.
as long as you have gambling, there's going to be a problem.
No, absolutely. And I mean, you in a way, you kind of got to blame, big brother or big business for this. Like you said, MLB, all the big sports leagues are in on it, right? Everywhere you turn, it's something sponsored by DraftKings or ESPN Sportsbook sponsored by this or Mohegan Sun or MGM. So again, yeah, you're going to have issues. It's you got to wonder. You could sit there and say all you want about how it's wrong and what's wrong, what's right, but if there's money to be made, MLB, NFL, NHL, all these teams, all these leagues are going to get in on it. It's the money talks. That's
I mean, when ESPN pulled out of their sports betting agreement with Penn Gaming, we're like, oh, ESPN's showing that integrity. They don't want to be involved in betting, and then they signed a deal with either DraftKings or FanDuel like an hour later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's too much money involved. But all this stuff just bums me out. Like I just between that and the money. And I want college players to get paid too. And I'm not trying to make them both comps, and I'm not trying to be an old geezer either. It's just, I think it sucks so much fun out of it for me.
Well, they just had video on Instagram. It was like the Kentucky quarterback. It was like they were ragging on him because he was like, he sucked or something. So he showed video on Instagram of like just hundreds and hundreds of dollars of his
NIL,
money.
yeah,
NIL money, and it was like, I mean, there had to have been like $25,000-$30,000 there. And he's just flipping through it, laughing at people. It's like, well, what is that breeding in him? Like, what kind of entitlement is that setting? Because you can go out there and suck, and then you're going to be walking around with $30,000 flashing it. I don't know. It's just the whole thing smells.
They don't care about their team they play for because they're just mercenaries anyway. It's not. So college sports is supposed to be you go to the stadium or the arena and you cheer on the team you love. And
but at the same time, I don't feel bad for any of these universities because they've been living off the teat for a long time, and they treat their players like crap. I've seen it firsthand with people I know. They're on a team one day, and next thing you know, you're not even at the school. So as far as I'm concerned, they can go scratch and the players get what they can, but it's going to get out of control before it gets better. I'll tell you that.
Totally. John Senecal, Brian Shackman here, Fan Base, a deep dive into the greatest rivalry in sports. Let's just close on you got some news on Jackie Bradley Jr.
Yeah, so everybody. Yesterday there was a draft for Banana Ball, right? Apparently Banana Ball is becoming a league, right? They're going to have 6-team league, a 60-game schedule. They're going to have the 3 or 4 normal teams, which were like the Firemen, the Bananas.
So 2 of the teams are coming to Hartford, not the Savannah Bananas, but 2 other teams.
2 new teams is I think the Indianapolis team and Loco Beach. So Indianapolis, there was a draft, and the first player picked by the Indianapolis Clowns was JBJ himself, Jackie Bradley Jr., former Boston Red Sox. Some would say, excellent center fielder. I was at a party once and some guy tried to tell me that he was the best center fielder in baseball, which I completely laughed at and blew his argument away in about 3 seconds. But that being said, it's an interesting conversation, Brian, because if you've been following the Banana Ball, which I think is completely stupid, but they have a crazy following, and what they've been doing for the last 2 seasons is showing up in towns and bringing out the former MLB players from those towns. And it's worked, and it's worked really well. Some players have gotten injured. Sean Casey blew his hammy out in an appearance. But now, as you see these teams, most of them are filled up with ex-college players, right? They were excellent players that are talented. The level of play is pretty good. It's not MLB good, but it's good. So now I think you're going to see a lot of these former minor league players or former guys like JBJ that are like lower 40s, upper 30s that, washed out, like Didi Gregorius. I mean, that dude could probably still play MLB, but he might be like, a little bit above Banana Ball, but guys like that. So maybe it resurrects some of these guys' career, keeps them going and gives their love for the game a little bit more and a less strenuous atmosphere. So, at that aspect is good, but I still think it's a bunch of crap.
Well, honestly. I mean, I'm not listen, my wife and I've interviewed Jesse Cole before, who started it.
And we had Jackson Olsen on a show.
Yeah, we had Jackson Olsen, and I've been following it, for a while, and I just think it's too Harlem Globetrottery now. Like, if the baseball is real, and I don't know, I just question and I know the Savannah Bananas actually do lose games. It's not like the Washington Generals versus the Globetrotters, but the performative aspect seems to be less authentic, and it just seems too like Globetrotters meet Barnum and Bailey Circus, right? So I'm not interested in it personally. I think it's amazing that a guy can do a backflip and catch a fly ball. I think some of the stuff is amazing because stuff on the baseball field, it's just different. I mean, the body control to do that stuff, I find to be athletically insane, but I don't know if it's enough to get me excited. So I think Jackie Bradley, what I'll say about Jackie, and my joke is his trick's going to be making contact with the ball. But I will tell you, of all the pro athletes that I've randomly reached out to on Instagram or on Twitter, he's always responded, and he's a genuinely good guy. Like, I think that ultimately he couldn't make contact enough to stay in the bigs because he was a great fielder, and he's a really good human being. So I hope he's saved his money. Like, I hope this isn't him needing to make money, because I worry about a guy like that who had a couple contracts who's got to do something like this, because it's not a path back to the bigs, and he's not.
I think it's just something to keep the fires going. That's all. I don't think he's going back to the major leagues. That'd be my guess. It's just something for them to do. I mean, it's 60 games, and something like that, you could probably walk away at any time, right? If you had to, which is much different. Real quick before we end, Brian, I want to say the all MLB teams were announced just yesterday, and Max Fried and Aaron Judge were on the first team, and Garrett Crochet and Aroldis Chapman were also on the first team. So congratulations to them. And then also we have more WBC Team USA news. So we already know Aaron Judge is involved, Paul Skeens is involved, and Bobby Witt Jr., but now they just announced Corbin Carroll and Pete Crow Armstrong. So now we're looking for a third baseman, a second baseman, and a first baseman to round out our starting lineup, and then fill it out with pitchers.
I'm surprised the Pirates are going to let Skeens play.
Yeah. Well, if you're listening to all the tabloids and reading all the interwebs,
he's going to the Yankees, baby.
He's going to the Yankees, baby. And if it's not in 4 years, it's going to be soon. I say trade the farm for him, man. Jones, Schlittler, Dominguez, throw Volpe in there, and they can have Stanton too. Dude, he's that good. I would give him all three of our top prospects for him.
And would you eat Stanton's money?
Absolutely. For him, for Paul Skeens, you put Paul Skeens in the Yankees rotation, you can make up for Stanton and those other guys very easily. Yeah. I mean, you could get a guy for $10 million a year to make up for Stanton. So, but we'll talk about that in the next couple episodes of the hot stove heats up.
I wonder if Cherington would take it. I was Cherington's RA in 1992-3. He doesn't return my phone calls anymore, though.
You didn't buy him enough beer, Brian.
I don't know. Good stuff as always, John. You've been listening to Fanbase, a deep dive into the greatest rivalry in sports.